Bethenia Angelina Owens was born in Missouri in 1840. She was the third of at least 12 children born to Thomas and Sarah. When Bethenia was 3, her family were among the first to travel to Oregon to begin a new life. By 1850, their farm was valued at $10,000, the equivalent of over $400,000 today. Bethenia was only 14 when she married a farmhand, LeGrand Hill, who was about 26. 2 years later, Bethenia gave birth to a baby boy, who they named George. Around the same time, their marriage was falling apart. LeGrand had no desire to stick with any one career. Caring for his family was an afterthought, and on multiple occasions, he caused physical harm to Bethenia and baby George. She gave the marriage multiple tries, but eventually, after 4 years of marriage, they were divorced. Frustrated by her inability to read, write, and provide for herself and her son, Bethenia decided to go to school. At first, she had to go to primary classes with small children, but she worked hard and moved through more difficult classes quickly. Her parents offered to support her, but she refused and instead worked hard at various jobs. She nursed the sick, took in washing, ironing, and sewing, cooked, and even started a school. She owned a hat shop for a while, but by 1871, she was tired of it. And so, at age 31, she embarked on her biggest adventure yet. She traveled to Philadelphia and attended medical school, graduating a year later. Bethenia became one of the first medically trained female doctors in the western U.S. A few years later, she attended the University of Michigan and graduated from a 2-year surgical course. People came from far and wide for her to treat them, and she was in practice for 33 years. She also ensured George had a good education, and he too became a doctor. She also adopted another child, a girl from a dying patient named Maddie. Maddie too became a doctor, but died in her 30s, which devastated Bethenia, who would also adopt Maddie's son, Victor. At age 44, Bethenia married a childhood friend, John Adair. 3 years later, she gave birth to a baby girl, but tragically the baby only lived 3 days. They adopted another boy from a patient and named him John Jr. She also supported many of her relatives in their educations and endeavors. She also wrote extensively about mental health. Her views on sterilization, considered groundbreaking at the time and passed into law, are now viewed in a much darker way and no longer acceptable. Much like many historical figures, Bethenia must be viewed in the context of both her time and her peers. Despite the harm we now understand comes from those views, we can also acknowledge the remarkable ambition Bethenia had, as well as the impact she had on multiple generations of physicians. She died in 1926 at age 86. Please share your thoughts in the comments.